Hello and welcome to week one of the J League. I've gone on a little bit early just because the squads are starting to be announced. So we'll come off this nonsense. It's an interesting start. Some surprises, some big players missing. But we will see how it goes. Just trying to bring up this on my phone so I can actually see that it's working okay. Which is perfect. So yeah, definitely some surprises here. Karaoke is starting for Considole up front, which has a knock-on effect to Daiki Sugar not starting, but I'm okay with that. I quickly snapped up the cheapest Karaoke on the market, and I feel like his price is definitely going to go up. So we will see how that goes. I'm just going to put a quick post up here. Can't believe I'm on holiday and it's 5:15 in the morning and I am sat on YouTube. Not long awake, so just trying to get caught up. Morning, Rascal. Yeah, definitely seems to be a bit of chaos with the lineups. So I'm just going to refresh on here, and then I'll start looking at some of the lineups. I can't actually see on YouTube as to how many are viewing, so I'm just going to have to go with it and hope that there's more than just me speaking to myself, which I know there is now, which is good. So let's go down. Actually, one of the ones that was the big news was that Kikuchi wasn't playing, that I just seen a moment ago. But first of all, I'll go with the team that I'm paying the most attention to. And that was Considole. Got Considole top one. 2003. It wasn't in as bad a condition when I got it. It arrived and it was. I gave it a wash, a couple of spin cycles, and it just fell apart with all the sponsor coming off and everything like that. So, but you can probably see just there that it is the console top. Long sleeves as well, which I'm a big fan of. So yeah, morning from Australia. I'm always fascinated by the countries where people are from when they're sitting watching a guy from Dundee streaming from Spain, I guess. um, but yeah, so Shimizu were missing Thiago Santana. I noticed he wasn't anywhere in their lineup. I'm guessing that's probably COVID related, like you're saying there, Rascal. Yeah, definitely a few different sides. So if I have a wee look at the Constable lineup, you'll see they've went with Kroki up top. He was thought to be a substitute in most of the predicted lineups, and he wasn't. He's starting, so that's meant a wee bit of a knock on, because that's meant that Ogashiwa is sitting as a cam, which has left Kaneko moving out to the right, which has meant Lucas Fernandez has gone to the left, which means Daiki Shuga's on the bench. So it's had a knock on, and I think this is going to be it's going to be very interesting. Yep, Takamine in there in the centre midfield. Tanaka and Fukumori are the other two that I've got. Sugeno, as I say, Kaneko, obviously. I did go and pick up the cheapest Kroki on the market. Let me just go and have a look at that. Here we go. I'll switch it to rares. Yep. As soon as I seen he was in the starting lineup, I thought, well, I kind of have to really. Bit of a surprise, but 0.06. If he ends up being a regular in the side, I'm going to be okay with that. I'm definitely going to be okay with that. I got one that had 5% on it, and it was an older card. So there's a lot of people obviously starting now to jump on and upload their cards, in the last few minutes. I did see, if we go out and we'll look at another game, which game was it now? There's one of the teams is playing an unexpected goalkeeper. Now, why is that showing that the lineups are there and then the lineups aren't there? Let's look at Gamba and Kashiwa. Oh, that was it. Ishikawa's in the goal. I noticed a bit of frenzied buying on the Sorare site for him. There have been quite a few sold in the last few minutes. But again, I think that is a COVID related matter. Fairly solid sides throughout, though. It could be interesting, but it could be very interesting for the prizes, because now it might be a case of, if you've got 5 players that are actually playing, you're in with a shout, because some of the big hitters are definitely missing. Kashima, yep, fairly straightforward. I mean, Ueda playing up front, so there was a wee bit of suspicion as to whether he would start or not. Everybody's new favourite, Sekigawa, at the back. Suzuki back as well. So I'm not 100% certain as to some of the who would be regular starters, but didn't see any major surprises in some of these ones. Watching from Mexico, wow! Welcome, Oriole. It's just fascinating. People watch from all over the world on these, and it genuinely is. It's mind blowing, really. But yeah, I think it should be fun. I came on a little bit early. As soon as the lineup started coming through, and I thought, do you know what? What's the point waiting until past? Let's just jump on now. So I do have my mobile phone in my hand, because I'm watching the chat on that, because I really need 2 monitors to do this setup properly. I have got a second one at the house back home in Scotland, so going forwards for doing this, I probably will look at having the second one so that I can have the chat on one side and I can have the main screen on here so that I can keep track of it. It'll be a lot easier, I think. But what I have done is I have gone with I've got all the notifications on my phone for SofaScore. So the plan is really just to kind of, as goals come in, talk about them, have a little kind of just general Sorare chat as well. I think that'll be kind of fun. But yeah, I think it'll be, if there's periods of silence, it's probably because, it's middle of the night kind of thing, it is quite early. So yeah, Higashiguchi, yeah, definitely. A surprise, obviously not in the goal there. So I think there is going to be, like I say, I do think there's going to be an element of if you have got 5 solid starters, that you could be in with a shout. I did mention that I would put the K-League, and there is only one early kickoff in the K-League, and that is Junbok and Suwon. So I'm just going to load that up. And I mean, I have absolutely no idea who would be starters here and who wouldn't be starters here. But before I do that, actually, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to load up a little bit of notifications. Happy days. Let's have a look at, you can see some of the searches. I was trying to find if Lejulie was going to start for Beershot and he didn't. So let's have a look for, because these lineups aren't in here yet, but they will be on here. Now, this is always troublesome for somebody who struggles with English for when the teams are in fully in Chinese, so Japanese. So I don't really know who is starting here. But if I go and have a look at VCell, this was one that I did notice. They are playing goalkeeper wise. Mikawa is playing for them in the goal, and I did notice that Ekura wasn't on the bench at all. So that to me would probably suggest another COVID-related absence, perhaps. Sorare Japan was suggesting that there has been outbreaks, and that, I mean, if there is, then that could definitely have impacted the goalkeeper situation there. So although Mikawa is starting, I don't know if that really means that he is going to be the starting goalkeeper going forward. Yeah, the broadcast is being sponsored by Monster this morning. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I agree, Rascal. Yeah, absolutely. The fact that he's not. I mean, that's effectively what happened with Mikawa going out. Akura came in, and they stuck with him, didn't they? So it was, there's always surprises. First week in fixtures is always a nightmare. I mean, I can see Ryo Hattusa on the bench. That's I wouldn't have necessarily thought that he was going to start on the bench. He was one that I did have, and I sold because I figured I had a couple of defenders as it is. So I moved on from him, and it seems to have been a lucky bullet. Manquello, I'll have a wee nosy in a wee bit. I'm just going to have a look at the rest of the squads if I can, and then I think I'll do a wee bit of Sorare chat before the 6 o'clock kickoffs, because we've got a wee bit of time. But yeah, it looks like you're right. It does look like McKenna's playing out wide. It's a wee bit frustrating when some of them come up like this and don't actually. It says it's got the lineups and it doesn't. I much prefer the SofaScore website on my phone. I think I've mentioned that on many a stream. If I have a look on SofaScore just now, see if it comes up. Which it isn't either. It's still showing that the scores are the lineups are there, but it's not actually showing the lineups, which is a wee bit frustrating. So before I do anything else, let's have a quick nosy, and I'll show you where I'm at with my J League club at the moment. So we look up to 10 players. Comes out of nowhere sometimes, and it's all rares, so I don't have any common ones. Hoping to start picking them up in the next few weeks, just in case. So yeah, just picked up Kuroki, as I mentioned. With him starting, I thought that was well worth a shot. Leo Silva, I think that was Hoodwink, gave me a nod towards him. I picked him up, as you can see, for 30 odd quid. Douglas Vieira, that was another hopeful punt as well, just to get another starting forward. I had him last year, and one of the most frustrating players because he was always injured. I'm just going to look and see if they're just checking on my phone to see if their squad is in the. Yep, they've still not got the lineup. It's bizarre how some clubs. I mean, Constable squad was out almost a full 2 hours before the kickoff today, so it's an odd one. But yeah, Daiki Sugar's still sat there. I'm not going to get rid just because he's missing one game. It's a long season. Also got under 23 utility, so that might give me an opportunity to have a look there. Oops, and Fresh. It's got the lineups here now apparently. Yep. Again. There we go. So they do have the lineups, and they don't even have Junior Santos up front. Interesting. Junior Santos is on the bench, and good old Vieira is nowhere to be seen because he never is. But a lot of there are a lot of Brazilian players who are still, when they come back into Japan, are still quarantined. So that could be a matter along there. Koyamatsu now at Racel. I've got him sat there as well, so I'm looking forward to seeing him later on. Tanaka, Sugeno. I mean, some of these players, I picked them up at the end of the season or before the end of the season, and I mean, I did pay. I mean, look at Fukumori, 0.055, 186 quid. I think the cheapest one of him on the market yesterday was 0.23, which was about just shy of 500 quid. And that's what he was actually selling for, not, oh God almighty. That's what he was actually selling for as opposed to just what he was, God almighty, listed at 0.44. That's goalkeeper money. Nosy on here. I apologise if this is the boring part. It's kind of just a preamble to the games. So let me just open up the chat again. And where were the defenders? So how does latest price 223. I mean that's bonkers money. And I picked him up at the end of the season for 180 quid, and now he's selling for the calm before the storm. That's absolutely right. That's my phone going nuts with all the half-hour notifications for all the games about to kick off in 30 minutes. So we're getting there. We are getting there. But yeah, if you've got any questions, feel free to drop them in the live chat. I'll talk through what I can. I've made quite a few gallery changes since the last video. Been a stunning week here in Spain. Still got today and most of tomorrow, which will be Sunday, depending where in the world you're watching this. That'll be so we've still got quite a bit of time, a couple of days to go and enjoy the sunshine. Once it gets to a little bit of daylight, about 7 o'clock, so maybe looking at the start of the second half, so I might move out on the balcony if it's not still too early. But once we get a bit of daylight, I might do that. Any recommendations for a J League limited investment? To be honest, the limiteds, I've not. I was actually looking at possibly building a limited team, because I was sitting with 0.1. I have just spent a big chunk of that. But to be honest, the limiteds are still a market that I'm not 100% convinced by. I mean, I did run the limited team at the end of last year, and I won a card, and it was next to no value. So I've kind of just steered clear, just because I'm not a fan of the reward system. I don't think, if you're winning a tier 3 and it's basically an unsellable card, you spend 100 quid or more on a team, but it's going to be more than that because the goalkeepers are more. I think you should expect a little bit better in terms of return, and sadly that's not the case. Morning with it. But yeah, it's just a shame. I feel like the lower end rewards on the limited cards just aren't enough to warrant playing it. But I mean, in terms of players, I don't know let's have a little look. I'll show you my searches. I've got them on a couple of videos, but if we go back onto Sorare Data and we go Player Finder, and you could use these searches, you could scale this to whatever way you want. I mean, obviously things are going to be all over the place this morning. If you've picked up any of the starting goalkeepers that aren't regular starting goalkeepers, you can make a wee bit on them, because people will see a name and they'll automatically assume, rather than do the research and find out they're only playing because of an injury or COVID or what have you. So yeah, the lineups are a wee bit nuts. So you could potentially go in and have a look at some of those goalkeepers that are starting today and see what sort of prices they're at, especially like say the Gamba goalkeeper. Look to pick them up. Let's have a wee look. 0.01 we'll start with. Take off the average price. Nope. Point looking at that if you're just looking for a quick one. But you'll probably get. I haven't taken off the positions, have I? I've left the same positions on. Yeah, it's got every position and every league. But this is the kind of search that I would do if I was looking for one. I don't really know what sort of prices to look at, but 0.01, and then you could always increase it. You'll have to watch for the clubs where players have been relegated, like Shimoda. Yep, I'll bet you have. I'll bet you have, Rascal. As soon as it's always the same when people see a goalkeeper starting. That's why I was trying to find about Legiolate to find out if it was worth it. Because if he started after coming on late as a substitute, I would have found that it might have been worth picking him up for the 0.06 or whatever he was sitting on the market at. If you were to sell him for 0.2 tomorrow, for treble the price or more. But there's quite a few players, defenders, midfielders, all sitting in at the point under the 0.01 price range. So that's the kind of search I would do. Have a wee nosy at that and see if there is things that will fit in with your. Goalkeeper training. Last year, I actually, when Akura started one of the games in mid-season, it wasn't when he had his big run as the actual keeper. He just started one game out of the blue. I'd picked up about 4 or 5 goalkeepers when I first started, and I picked them all up for like 0.01, so they're all about kind of like 30 quid or whatever. And I thought, you know what, hold on to them, and if they get a start, people do, go panic buy, because, there are leagues like the J League where you do have to do a fair bit of research, to buy players that are going to be regulars. It's not like if the Scottish League were in it, for example, I would know who I could go and look at. But there's certain leagues it's a lot harder to find information unless you're following the right people or you're subscribing to Sorare Japan or whatever. It can be really hard to find that information. So people are lazy. So they'll look at SofaScore and they'll see a player just get a start and it's like, oh God, I have to go and buy him. And it's always a way you can make money. And that when Akura went in the goal, I think I sold him for about 200 odd quid, and at the time that was enormous. I mean, any time, to be honest, 200 quid, say I'd say £150 profit or more. That's enormous to me. I still never lose sight of that. I mean, things like that pay for coming to Spain or going on holiday or buying new furniture or whatever else. And obviously, yes, you can reinvest it back in your team, but I'm always conscious that I always wanted to kind of start taking money out, and that's one of the big ways that you can do it. If the backups are at a reasonable price and they're the ever present backup, it's worth having a look at. My main panic at the moment is I've got Sageno without a net, because Nakano is the backup. I did pick up, I think it was shown there a minute ago. Is it Otani? Yeah, Koki Otani. Sometimes on the bench, sometimes not. But it will be Nakano that will be the number one after Sageno. So that's a wee bit of a concern. Not a wee bit, that's a big concern. But Nakano's price is just so high that, can I tie up? Can I make sales and tie up, a quarter of an ETH for a goalkeeper that is a backup? Because he will start. I mean, it's inevitable. I mean, Sageno's no spring chicken. The old silver fox. He is. So yeah, that's a wee bit of a concern. I think I will probably look to build towards that. Something issue with yes. Suzuki is one of those ones that's monstrously overpriced. Um, I, th- I mean, any of the under 21s. I mean, people do go nuts for them, and I can understand why, because if they once they start, their price will absolutely rocket, because that's just how it is. Um, but I mean, it's so much to tie up, isn't it? It's um, you know putting 500 quid into to maybe get a starter at some point. Or you could end up with an issue, like the guy there was at Marinos. Um, what was the lad's name? Obi Powell. He just vanished, and then he was loaned out. In fact, he's on the bench today there. But his price was enormous. Granted, so was the starting goalkeeper, but yeah. No Higashiguchi. Yep. I do believe there's going to be a fair bit of COVID. Um, but yeah, no, it's very true. The under 23 goalkeepers are a huge barrier to entry. I mean, I got the Donnarumma common card, but even that, I mean, PSG are, they've got who was the best goalkeeper in the Euros, and playing him as a backup to Keylor Navas still. So, yeah, it's the other one I've got Philip Kohn from Salzburg, but because sometimes where the keepers for the bigger teams, they don't do a lot. So when they concede, you're probably only sitting with about, from a common card, for like less than 20 points, and it's just not enough to compete. It's not worth the it's just not worth the effort. So yeah, I will probably have to seriously look at that. Who was the other game? We're still waiting on the full lineup coming into here. Oh yeah, that's a later kickoff. For some reason, the times on here. Oh, it's because my laptop hasn't updated to being in the Spanish time, which is weird. But yes, so that's how I made on the East. Kashikov. Yep, absolutely. I think getting in on the goalkeepers, it can be really profitable. And the way I was looking at it was the fact that if you yeah okay if you're looking at the market and it is cheap enough, you will be able to get them in there. And the way I was looking at it is, with COVID, as you can see today, it's going to cause carnage. And like I say, because this is a league where you are going to have to do research, when people do see a different name in the goal, they automatically jump and buy. So you can always make profits, but that's the only thing with the J League, is those profits tend to be having to be up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to be able to capitalise on them. And the good thing now is, with it being on the layer 2, the quick transfer. You buy somebody and they're in your gallery within minutes. Whereas back then, if you want to capitalise on it, if you bought them right away, you could be an hour or two before they actually cleared, and then by then you could have missed the rush. Whereas now, you might see a wave of players going up and being snatched up, and then a second wave of them going up. So it's worth having a wee look at that. I think over the next couple of weeks, once the squads settle out and we've got regular backups, I will probably go back in and look at. Some people think it's dead money, but I think it's an investment. Oyevsky's thought was that. I'm not sure, but yes, it'll be interesting. I still can't see how many viewers there are on here. It just says one watching on my stream on my phone here, but let me just click again. 7. Do you know what? This was just purely an experiment to see if anybody would watch as well, one of these madcap ideas that you get that just float around your head, and you're like, yeah, okay, well, I think we were sitting on the beach yesterday, and I was like, do you know what, I quite fancy doing it. The way I've got this set up just now, I'm going to have to look a wee bit deeper. I've got some software. It's an open source software. This is it here on my kit and caboodle on here. This is what I would need on a second screen sitting beside me so that I could see the chat, because I'm having to watch that on my phone. But what I would like to try and do is down the side of the screen here, to see if I could get it to clip the SofaScore website there, so I could actually just fit the screen in enough so that it was the scores. I think that'd be pretty cool if I could get something like that. Maybe play about with it, see what I can figure out. And I'm also going to wait to try and figure out getting I'm using the built-in webcam on the laptop, which it says it's one thing, but they can be a bit grainy picture-wise. I've just noticed I haven't got the lamp on here. I'm not sure if that's going to be too bright now. No, it looks alright. Let's see when that comes on. But yeah, I'm going to be upgrading and using my mobile phone as the camera. So that's one thing I'll have to go and pick up is... yeah, it's a little bit better for the camera. Perfect. And yeah, no, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at using the camera on my phone and using that as the webcam. So that's something I was looking at doing moving forward as well. So yeah, I'm going to be trying to make some improvements. So this was, I sat up until the wee hours trying to make this all up. So I think for a first shotty at making something like this, I don't think it was too bad. Looks very generic with the writing at the bottom, but hey, it is what it is. But if I've got a second screen, which I do back home, I could even change, some of the graphics, some of the details as the video is progressing. So, but yeah, you're right, Ollie. There's going to be a lot of COVID. That's what I was saying at the start of the video. I do think there's going to be a case for, if you've got 5 starting cards and you get a couple of decisives, you're probably in with a really good shout. Some of the big names missing, goalkeepers missing, strikers missing. I've got 4 starters out of 5. 5th one's on the bench. Yeah, no, it's so yeah, it will be. I'm just reading the chat at the same time here, so the chat's everything's about 20 seconds behind when it comes through on the phone, which is why I really need to have the second screen there so I can keep on top of it. So if I miss anything in the chat immediately, I will come back to mentioning it. But yeah, no, thanks, Rascal. I do appreciate that. It's for sitting in the apartment with just my laptop and trying to keep, if it's not loud enough, it's because the missus is sleeping still and I'm recording this at 5:45 local time here in the morning. So oh god, yeah, Ollie, I agree. I mean, to be honest, see, with especially with when the J League was running, I was getting up 3-4 o'clock and going sitting in the garden and stuff. It was absolutely nuts. Okay, so we've got a question here that I might have to look this up. Toyokawa on Kyoto. Let's have a look here. Lineups. I've just noticed they've actually gone with Kame Fukumoto as the starter. Yuta Toyokawa. Forward. Okay, let's have a wee look and find out some information. To be honest, I don't genuinely know, but I will have a little look. Yeah, thanks, Bruco. I'm a wee bit gutted that Suga isn't starting, but I did pick up Karaoke, which was one that I was quite pleased to have picked up. Toyokawa. Does Sorare Data do that for anybody else, where you search for a name and it just goes blank and you have to refresh it to actually bring the details up? It does it on my phone as well, so I don't know if it is a just me thing or if it's a reserve forward. Do you know what? If they're getting their chance, this is the thing. If he gets a run as a starter, that 0.07 price just now is a bargain. That's the way I've looked at Karaoke. I picked him up 0.06, and yeah, you can see obviously that he has had a couple of spells out the squad there. Yeah, I think as Rascal says, yeah, a bit of confidence and a few goals. Sometimes when you go to a new club, you just need that run of fixtures, especially as a striker. If you can hit the ground running, get a few fixtures together, get a couple of goals, all of a sudden that price looks a lot more attractive. But I do think that could be one that's worth having a decent look at, and yeah, I think that price doesn't look unappealing at all. I mean, if I was to given a choice between having him and Vieira at the moment, I probably would. Rivaldo, yep. There is a lot missing for Shimizu. I'm kind of glad that I sold. I mean, I'd have been screwed whichever striker I went with, right enough, because obviously I sold Santana for 0.25, and then that's when I brought in the Daiki Sugar for 0.13. So yeah, missing. I would have, at least this way. I've got a substitute one, but yeah. I think it's going to. I'm really looking forward to this. I mean, like I say, the way I've got it set up on my phone is I have the scores. I was going to try and watch at least one of the games, but because I'm having to keep an eye on my phone for the chat, I'm going to have to. I don't. I wonder. Let me just quickly see if there's a way to put that chat window inside the video here. Can I add? Yeah, I had a look to see, but it doesn't give you an option to add a chat window. Again, this is purely experimental. If I pop that out, this doesn't stay on top, unfortunately. So let me go back to here. It doesn't stay on top, which is really frustrating. I wish it would. There must be something I'm doing wrong. Participants, toggle timestamps, send feedback. No, it doesn't give us an option for it. So, yep, we'll roll as we are. Apologies for this behind the scenes stuff, but I just thought I would see if I could bring the chat. Morning, thanks for joining. 13 in the chat. This is ridiculous. I genuinely find this madness that we're all sitting here at this time in the morning. Then again, I suppose we've got all over the world. We've got Australia, we've got Mexico. Yeah, so we're not all sitting here at 5, 6 in the morning. But I do find it fascinating. This was just a madcap idea in my head just to do it. Like I say, it was just something that popped in, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I tweet it, and then all of a sudden there's so many likes and whatever to it, and then Nicholas also liked it and what have you, and I was like, oh, I guess when the boss man starts liking it, I kind of have to do it, don't I? So, yep, we've got UK, Spain is where I am just now. Let's say Mexico, Australia, and no way is. So we've got Uruguay as well. This is honestly, it's just bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. But I love it, and this is why I really enjoy doing what I do on Sorare. Obviously, the whole platform itself, in terms of the buying and the selling, all your SO5 stuff, everything like that. is all awesome. But some of the things that I've got from doing the Twitter page and from doing the videos has just been awesome. And things like this, it's just madness. I really do find it madness. We've got London, Brook going to the Villa game later on. One of my, I think I've mentioned it on streams before, but I'll just mention it again. I'm a bus driver as my job. But it's not just regular buses. I go to areas where it's older folk, or it may be places where they don't have regular bus services. There's lots of tiny little, you know, four-house villages where there's no bus service. So we go and I pick these people up, take them to Tesco or wherever they're going to doctor's appointments or whatever, and then bring them back again. It's kind of like a big taxi service for the rural areas. And one of my favourite passengers is a Villa fan. She was a season ticket holder for a number of years, and right before Christmas, you may have seen on my Twitter page at the time, I got a signed John McGinn top for my son for his Christmas, and framed it and all, what have you. And I took it in to show her, and she was over the moon. She got her iPad out, was taking photos of it and showing to show her friends. And so she was that happy about it that when I drove away, I parked up a little bit down the road, and I found a signed John McGinn, print. It was a live signature, but it was on a printed photo, and I ordered it for her, and I gave it for her as a Christmas present, and she was absolutely over the moon. She's got it up on her wall right beside her mum and dad's wedding photo. So she said it had pride of place. So she's a massive Villa fan. She had Villa shopping bags. That's how we got chatting about it. She's one of the first people I picked up when I started doing it, and yeah, absolutely love it. So we have big chats about football. So we keep on top of that. So yeah, back to the chat. Yep, Spurs fans. 6-0 for 40-1. Jeez, oh. Yeah, you know what? See, since we've been on Sorare, I've not really looked at doing much gambling. To be honest, I've kind of kept with what's going on here. Just playing along here, and if I was going to put any more money in, I would maybe put in a team. Maybe to look at buying a limited team or something like that. But like. A lot of times with the coupons, I just tended to find I was throwing money away, and yeah, it wasn't the greatest. Yeah, Sugar on the bench, not ideal. The I think I was saying at the start, it's a knock on effect from Kuroki starting. So Ogashiwa is playing as attacking midfielder, and then that's meant Kaneko's out on the right and Fernandez is on the left, which has left Daiki Suga sitting on the bench, twiddling his thumbs, unfortunately. But it's not a panic sell. He will play throughout the season, so I'm not going to panic about that and sell. It's a bit unfortunate, but I suspect they do tend to make a lot of subs, so I suspect he will come on, and if he can come on and have an impact, that'd be even better. So, but yeah, it's hard to know at the moment what is a week one. This is the team we're going to play, and what is COVID related in terms of some of the players that are missing. So I'm sure it'll all come out in the wash, and we'll figure out who is starting and who is going to be a backup. I love the console team. That was one of the things last season. I mean, I got Kaneko in a swap deal, and played him quite a lot. And I then started watching the games, and when they do have, I think Sorare Japan had a major bugbear for Jay Bothroyd, but he was right. When they do play, they're quick, dynamic players. They're a different team, and there's some team to watch. I think the limited team that I had in was actually first. I was sitting first. I had all the screenshots, and that was with about 10 minutes to go. And then they conceded 2 late goals, and it just went all to hell. So that led me to being like, you know what, I wonder if I could build it. I mean, Sugeno I got as a swap deal that worked out as about 0.08. So I'm glad he's still in the goal. I did think he was going to keep the sheet, keep the shirt just now. I have got him listed, purely in case somebody goes to buy, because that could well happen. The season's actually starting, but I don't know. Like I say, I would like to get Nakano in, but how do you afford a 500 quid backup? That just seems mental. Yeah, that is true. Looking for food. There's some teams, and it's usually the teams that play that kind of football are always trying to just walk the ball into the goal. Um, but that could be something that they're maybe looking to change. They have brought in Karaoke there as well, so that might, hopefully, I'd love to see a 30 goal 30 goal season from him now that I've managed to pick him up. But sure as fate, I'll go and play him as the starting one next week, and it'll be back to, it'll be Daiki Suga that'll be back out left, and Ogashiwa will be back up front. I was looking at Ogashiwa, but his price was just obscene. People were wanting 0.3. Superb action, Bruco. Yeah, no, I picked him up for 0.06 this morning. It's about 120 quid. And my alarm went off. I actually slept on the couch in the apartment because I didn't want to wake the missus up when I was getting up. Because I felt like I was definitely going to sleep through the alarm. And because it said I was going to do this now, I was like, you know what, you're fully committed. You have to do it now. So, yeah, that was quite something. But so I just slept through here on the couch, and then when my alarm was going off, and I rolled over, and the first thing I did was click on and loaded up the Console Twitter, and I seen it, and I was like, okay. And I went and checked his price, and I think there was still one available at see, it was an hour ago. Um, Holding the Canoe is tempting, yeah. It's just do you know what, he's going to start. He is going to start at some point, eh? But it's just a lot of money to sit as, effectively as, dead money. It's a real big amount. Um, yeah, the 0.066 one's gone, so it's 0.07 is the next one now, then 0.085, and then it's jumping up into point ones. So, yeah, I mean, do you know what? This was one that I did. I did have one of those feelings like, look at that, 0.04, 12 quid, and now got a starting striker possibly. Yeah, it was just. I just really hoped that I could have got something out of it, but it is what it is. We'll roll and see. Morning, Sajiwa. Oh, there's kickoff starting. Happy days. My phone started vibrating with kickoffs. In your next YouTube video. God, Australia as well. Hey. Okashiwa, Kaneko, and under 23s. Yep. Well, definitely good luck. And obviously, I'm wanting a big week from Kaneko. I'll hope for Daiki Suga to come off the bench and get in amongst the action. So, my hope is that with the game set to start, that when we do get the goals going in, I'm going to get them on my phone, with and it'll be about 20 seconds before you'll see it on the stream. So you'll probably have seen that there's been goals as well. So this is just going to be a wee bit of fun. I think this is going to be quite entertaining. We've got 10 people in the chat, and it'll be good that, going forward, even if I could figure out how to put in extra windows and have guests on it as well, that could be something that we could maybe do. I don't know if that's something that's logistically possible or not, but I'll certainly have a look at it. There's a tiny little fly in the apartment. I had the door open, but unfortunately I've got a tiny little fly and it keeps buzzing around this lamp now. I will catch it. I'll be Mr. Miyagi, and I will catch it. But yeah, we're all good. Ollie, yep. Sorry to say that, buddy. It is a sore one in the first week, when they're not starting. So, yep. Thank you so much for joining in. I'll catch you on one of the next ones. I'm probably going to do a live one again. Might see if there's anything I could do during the week based around, but I quite like this format. It's quite fun to actually have a live chat at the same time. Because when I'm recording the videos, I'm just sitting in the room on my own and I'm just chatting. Whereas here, I've actually been able to respond to messages at the same time, which is kind of a cool format. So that was the update. We're going back onto here. So yeah, the lineups. Let's have a wee look. See if we can. We'll have another review of. See if the lineups are also in English as of yet. Usually there's multiple lineups that get shown. Nope. So I wonder if there's. I wonder if our good friend. Oh, that's the match is starting now. So that's the Kyoto game showing as match started. The Gamba game showing as match started. Match started for Yokohama. Yeah, so as the game's kicking off, I wonder if Sorare Japan's got anything up. What's the next one kicking off? That's the Hiroshima game with Sagan Tosu kicking off. Let's look up Sorare Japan and see if he's got any commentary on. There we go, that's the Constant game kicked off as well. So, just seeing if he's put, because quite often he does, but he's not posted anything up as of yet. It was the Junbuksu one game with the lineups. Interesting. So that's the Vispa game kicking off as well. So, but yeah, I've got the notifications on for all the games for the K League as well. So when the goals are coming through, I will kind of bring them up as well. But now we're just now we're at the actual game times. This is going to be fun. So there we go. We're all at zeros. I always find, I don't know if anybody else finds, but with SofaScore, that the app is way better than the website. I've moaned about that on some of the videos, about that being the case. So yeah, it's kind of one of those things. I was going to look at maybe like a ones to watch, but some of the players like that are missing, like Kikuchi and stuff like that are missing. You're kind of like, so Fukumori is going to be one that I'm quite excited to own and see what happens. Oh, what are we looking at now? That's another notification. That's the Grampus team lineups according to SofaScore. If I can get back to them. So yeah, they have gone with Leo Silva playing, so that's interesting. Sakai is a striker. Now, is this him? They've gone with Noriyoshi Sakai as a striker today. Kiyasento behind. For another one of my holds, Yuki Soma is playing there as well. You're right, Makino looks like he's out as a right back. You've got Gotoku Sakai for Vissel Kobe. Ogihara, he was one I held last year. Was Iniesta a known player that was going to be out today as well? Or is that one that's a surprise? I'm not sure, because some of the ones that I don't hold, I don't necessarily know about. Let's see if it's got them live on here as well. It does, so let's bring it up on here now. So the Nagoya lineup, Leo Silva, Hoodwink gave me the heads up on that one, and Yeah, you do question the score, the lineups. It's It was funny. I think it was the Dundee game in midweek against Peterhead in the cup. We had the way that they lined it up. We had a striker as a a centre back in midfield, a midfielder as a forward, and the full backs were the wrong way round, and all this jazzy. So yeah, no, you do question it. Once the game kicks off, you do start to get your heat maps and stuff, so you can see for yourself whereabouts they were. Um, but it totally depends. But Leo Silva, that like I said, for 30 quid, quite pleased with that one. And then looking at the Kobe lineup, definitely missing some names in there as well. And the goalkeeping position still one of those ones that's going to be questionable because we don't really know with Akura being out. Is he, obviously is he out for COVID, or is he going to be one that's going to be, does Mikawa keep the place? It's going to be interesting to see. I'm hoping for a shower of goals flying in, because that would definitely be something that we could do with, because it gives us something to chat about and talk over. What I'm going to do is just have a wee nosy at some of the stats. So yeah, it looks like Consadole have been on early, making the early play, which you would expect given some of the players that they're missing, with Shimizu as well. Let's have a wee look statistic wise. No shots to speak of as of yet. Constable with a lot of possession. I mean, that's going to be their game, isn't it? So new boys, Duplo, how are they getting on there? Again, they're on top as well. You often find out with the teams that have been promoted, they are trying to make an impact on their first game. There's a lot of excitement and a lot of pushing forward. Early doors, one shot off target. The bulk of the first 5 or 6 minutes there. Hiroshima, let's have a look here. Statistics. I kind of didn't actually look, did I? I just went straight in. Yeah, kind of both sides had a wee bit of the ball there as well. Obviously, Sagan Toso, I think, could be one of those teams that could do well, or are they going to be mid-table? Are they going to fall down? Hiroshima, kind of mid-table last year as well, weren't they? Another new team, Kyoto, at home for their first game as well. Old faces in there as well. Kame Fukumoto and goal today, so it's a rare card there as well. Yeah, they started brightly. It does look like they have done as well, eh? It'll be good when we start to see these cards appearing, where we can actually go in and start to pick all of them up as opposed to just the few that are sitting into there. Statistic wise, yeah, 3 shots already, 2 shots blocked, 1 shot off target. Yeah, that's a promising start against a big side. I mean, that you wouldn't fancy that being your first game in the top flight, or maybe you would. Maybe you want to challenge yourself against some of the big teams. Quite often, you'd want the, if it was me, I'd probably want the easy run out against a struggling side straight away, as opposed to coming in against like an Ural right away. Gamba, it looks like Kashima have had a fair bit of pressure. Let's have a look. Oh God, 5 shots, 1 on target, 2 blocked, 2 off target. Corner, 1 big chance missed. So who's had that? Has that been him, or is it no? It won't have been him because he's on a 7. 1 shot blocked, 2 key passes. So that's going to be look away in a Ueda holders. Nope, he's got 6, 7. So a couple of minutes time we'll get the average scores coming on. You know what? I hadn't actually noticed Eduardo being on the bench. It's this is the lottery with week 1 as well. I remember even my first week. Well, my very first game week was the first week of the MLS season last year, and I'd done so much research before I bought anything because I was so wary of getting involved and putting any money in. And I bought all these MLS players based on the previous season, and all of a sudden, when the season started, a whole bunch of them were missing. And I remember just being like absolutely gutted with about three DNPs out of 5 players, and even my substitutes that my other cards that I had weren't starting, and I was absolutely gutted. So I ended up binning them all, and it was Sorare USA. Funnily enough, because I was following all the American pages, had posted up this article about it was like fixture difficulties, it was a fantasy football background that he had, so he was talking about the difficulty of the fixtures, and he brought up Oita as an example in Japan, and I went and had a look, and they'd had out of the first 6 games they'd played the top 4 already. So it was like, oh right, okay, so their prices were quite low. Obviously they ended up relegating things like that, but I managed to pick up a few of their key players, and this started to get me the thresholds. So that first week is absolutely soul destroying. Yeah, Sugeno loves to play that sweeper keeper role. He really does. I the game that I was watching towards the tail end of the season, he was like that. Just he does love he does love playing the sweeper keeper position. Let's have a look. It's constant pressure from them at the moment. One shot off target. Oh, hit the woodwork. Did I not just see that a second ago there? No. So we're starting to get the average scores in. We have karaoke on there. I mean, the good thing is, if we end up with a clean sheet for Constable, that'd be massive for me with 2 defenders and a goalkeeper. So that's a huge gamble. 1 goal going in, and it's all the pot there. Yeah. Morning, Big Adbowski. Yeah. So let's look at some other games here. I'm going to try and see if I can find the Racel lineup as well, just shortly. So we'll see how the teams are looking. It's early doors yet to see where performances are and what have you, but to see ones where they're already into the 7s is usually quite an early indicator. I've not got formation on this one. So we've got 0.63, but then we've got 6 7s. Let's have a look at Urawa. Average 0.671. It's quite interesting. Now, what I would have really liked to be doing, I noticed the TV here, and they've got one of those IPTVs. I wonder if it has any of the Asian channels, because it has them from all around the world on it. It's Koyumatsu on the bench. Yeah, he was in the predicted lineups for everybody I looked at. But with being a new signing, it might just be time, getting them bled into the squad as well. So I'm glad I didn't put him in any of the lineups. I'll try to see who would have maybe had that big chance missed, but there's nothing there showing glaringly obvious. And Yokohama, Yokohama haven't been the same team since Postecoglou went to Celtic, have they? But we'll see how they got under Kevin Muscat. I don't think they're going to be the same side. I really don't think they'll be the same side. Matsuda on a 6-9 already. No goals. We're almost quarter of an hour through, and no goals. That's extraordinarily disappointing. Let's have a wee look and see. So we just said about Racel. I'll just bring up the full lineup there. Yeah, Koyumatsu being on the bench is a wee bit of a surprise. But again, it is, like I say, it is week 1, so we're all learning at the same time. Yeah. Kim in the goal. So there's a few goalkeepers like Gonda for Shimizu and Kim for Raysol. Goalkeepers that are guaranteed to be starters basically, unless something like COVID or whatever else happens. They are almost definite to be in there. If I remember rightly, Shonan used to be a team that always put their lineup in Japanese. Oh no, here we go. It's a video. That's what it is. Oh no, it's a pre-match video. It's not the actual lineup. So they haven't got their lineup up. It's no, they have. There we go. Yeah, so they've got the names in English underneath here as well. Tani in the goal. Extraordinarily high price for him, but again, under 23 goalkeeper, so that's going to happen. We have a goal. And it is for Consadole Sapporo. 1-0. The first goal of the weekend. Well, not of the weekend, because there was games yesterday. The first goals of Saturday, and it has been scored by Consadole. We will go live there. What is happening there, Jeff? Let's have a look and see who's going to be on the score sheet. It is Lucas Fernandez who's on the score sheet for Consadole Sapporo. So, not one of my players, a player that would have been playing in this position, getting in on the goals. Let's have a look and see. Fukumori has, he's on a 6-7. Let's go back to the details. Yep, there we go. Lucas Fernandez has come up. That is one. That is one that I would potentially be looking at picking up, Lucas Fernandez, but it's tying up a lot of money in one team if I'll keep doing that. But he does seem to be somebody who always plays one side or the other. So I might well have to look at that as an option. In fact, what's he sitting at price-wise just now? Very serious looking man. Rears. Not a terrible price, to be perfectly honest. Not a terrible price. 0.079. That's not. Yeah, let's go around the grounds. You know what? It would be cool if we could have some. If we could build up a team of people doing it and being able to throw to them. I'd have absolutely no idea if that's any logistically possible thing, but I think that would be really cool. If there was somebody watching that game, we could go to them and say what happened, and actually get the details on it. I think that would be really, really cool. I'm fairly certain that on my limited budget, it's almost definitely not going to happen. But yeah, I think it'll be cool. So let's have a look here at the. Has there been an assist to go with that goal? Is it Ogashiwa that's got the assist? It is. So it's one of those. Yeah, I think it'd be really cool. I don't know how logistically possible it would be, but I think it would be something that would be pretty cool. Or even if I had to do it as a written thing, if somebody's watching that game and we can go to someone and say, so what's happened in that one, and actually get like an update. That'd be really cool. Yep, so two players not involved in my lineup, both getting in the act. But Fukumori is on a 6.7. He's got one tackle, 3 out of 3 for duels. Depends what Sorare count as, or Opta count as a tackle or as a ground duel. Happens all the time. It's just in case. I think it would be pretty cool, and that's it. That's isn't that both? Let's have a look back up there. Yeah, that's Ogashiwa. Yep, with the assist for Sajiwa there. You can't whack an early decisive, because then unless they're getting themselves sent off or scoring an OG or something like that, you've got at least 60 points plus your bonuses from those cards. And the good thing, that's one of the reasons that I took Fukumori as well. Set piece taker. So set piece, he could potentially get the bonus for being for a clean sheet, bonus for an assist, bonus for a goal if he's taking the free kicks. You're looking at a lot of. That's why his price is where it is. So We'll quickly scan round the grounds again. Let's go to Yokohama. I mean, it looks like quite sustained pressure coming in from there. If we go to the lineups, they've got a 7 point. Oh God, I wonder why it's not got the thing. Mizunuma, definitely appeal watching Williams. You're absolutely right. Down the right here, what's he got? He's got 2 key passes, 1 big chance created, a shot on target. Yeah, you can see why he's sitting at a 7.5 just now. I wonder if I can find. Let's have a wee look. Let's go to the play. I might get an oversight of some of the early scores, but no, it's obviously it's just going to be all the games that are finished. And we have another goal. We have a goal in the Gamba Kashima Antlers game, but which way has it gone, Jeff? And Jeff says it's gone to Kashima Antlers. And let's go over to that game, see if we can figure out what's going on. Sekigawa. That's something I was joking about as well as my mispronunciation of things. So we have the early goal, and it is for, looks like it could be Ueda. It is Ueda, alleged Hearts target in the summer there. Looks barely onside. Rascal, are you watching these games on a certain website referring to a male, possibly, and a the object of football being a goal? Unbelievable, Jeff. Patuka assist, is it? Yep, correct. Absolutely spot on, Bruco. I'm loving this. I'm kind of just rambling nonsense, trying to fill gaps and stuff like that with things. But now that we're starting to get the goals going in, this is going to be, where it gets interesting. Bet365, good shout. I wasn't sure if it was a site of where they tell you about Ukrainian women that want to meet people in your area and stuff like that, and that you get on He's Goal. There was one of the days I was watching football on there, and the missus came through and she's seen the TV and she's like, "What on earth are you watching?" And I was like, "Oh, it's just the football. It's just the adverts that come up on the football. Don't worry about the love. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to see here." Just in a quick look, I'm sitting on 161 at the moment, and just with nothing really having happened for my players, and that one substitute thing sitting there is kind of could come back to haunt a wee bit. But it is week 1, 4 out of 5 in the lineup isn't the worst. We'll get back onto the scores. So let's head back around the grounds again. So we'll go to Avispa and see what's happening here. After quite sustained pressure for Gibolo, they are. Not news that today. Sekigawa is looking quite menacing with his score so far as well. I did see that. But yeah, let's have a quick nosy. Oh, we have another goal. We have a goal in the Yokohama Cerezo Osaka game, and it is for the visitors. Let's see if we can figure out what's happened here. Ken Mitsubara. Yeah. One football game is a good place. Yep. I'm going to see if this IPTV's actually got the J-League games on anywhere. Let me see, where's the remotes for the TV? I chucked everything out the way. I was trying to get set up. Now I can't find it. Oh, we have that. Oh, score correction. Goal disallowed by the looks of it. Yeah, I can't see